A lot of good was done by the guys out there on the field, and it's quite hard to point to that if I look at the 2 test matches as a team. But yeah, quite disappointing.
And you, as a senior batter, can you just keep putting it down to inexperience as a group? Why can't spend time out there and put victories on the board, or is it something more?
I think to be brutally honest, as a batting group, we just haven't been good enough. I think that was the case in England as well, where the batting group we were shown up. I wasn't there in England, but watching from the sides. We've come here to Australia as well, and they've asked the questions, and we haven't had answers to them. I think in my little experience of playing international cricket, playing in Australia, playing in England, and probably playing in India, those are the toughest places to tour. And we went to England. That was tough. We come here to Australia. That's been tough. So I think there's a lot. There's a lot of questions than answers. But we simply haven't been good enough.
Well, I guess just going on from that, do you look at the domestic system back home and the batters it's producing, or does it go like much deeper like that? Do you think?
I guess. I've heard those arguments where people are looking at our domestic system back home, and if it really is equipping guys for this level. I'm sure the guys in the room, the inexperienced guys, will understand that it's a big jump. There's a big difference between franchise cricket and playing international cricket. I can't really sit here and have a go at our system. I'm part of that system as well. So that I'm not going to give a brutal answer towards. But I think the inexperience within the group, that's really showing up. Yeah.
Temba, the 2 run-outs obviously very second back today. What was your kind of take on both of them? Who did you think was at fault in those instances?
Yeah, I was involved in both of them. So I guess I'm the common denominator there. Don't want to put fault on anyone. Don't want to put fault on myself either. But I think it probably just shows the lack of clarity, the indecision between the guys batting out there. It was a key period within the game. A little bit of pressure. Kaya just come in. We just lost the wicket. And you really wanted to regain that control back on things there, and we didn't do that. And then Keshav's one again. Knew within the innings we were trying to build something. Situation like that happened. So I would put it to that indecision, lack of clarity, and cohesion between the guys batting.
Temba, that's 2 pretty bad defeats in 2 tests. With 1 to go, how do you muster the character within the group to front up again? And are you confident that there is enough character in the group to show something in the last test?
I definitely think there's still a lot for us to play for within the series. Like I said, the Australian team, they've asked questions. They're probably going to ask those same questions again with the bat and with the ball. And as a group, batting and bowling, we're going to have to find solutions to those questions. International cricket's a brutal sport, and a lot of us are learning that. And I think it's not a matter of shying away from what is in front of us. We're going to have to face it head on and find a way, not just for now, but for going forward. So, you can look at it personally, you can look at it from a team's perspective, but there's a lot for us to play for. There's a lot for us to still achieve and go back home with something to kind of smile about, if I could say.
Who would like to do the next one?
Mitchell Stark said that if Tarun keeps backing up too far, then he will eventually run him out at the other end. Does the team have a policy around that, and any thoughts generally? Is their position generally a recruit target about the Mancow?
Well, the guys know that now it's not frowned upon, if I could say that. It's within the rules. And the batters know if you're stealing ground or if you're not in your crease, there's a chance of you getting run out. So I guess the fault, I would say, is more on us as the batters. yeah, we need to be a lot more cleaner with that. Yeah.
Temba, I know you're not a selector, but the fact that it's a batting group that is struggling and you keep going into test matches with just 5 specialist batters, does that put a lot more pressure on you? And would you almost prefer having another batter just to shore it up?
That's definitely something that the guys can consider, selectors, and those guys who are involved within that group. I think on this wicket, to be honest with you, going with maybe just 3 seamers and a spinner would be tough. Would have been tough. Maybe at Gabba, yes, but I mean, no one would have really expected that wicket to play the way that it did. I think, looking at teams in the past, when I joined the Proteas, the test team, they generally went with three seamers. There was a spinner, and then there was a guy who could come in and bowl maybe 10 overs in the day. We unfortunately don't have that. But it would be nice, yes, to have an extra batter. I mean, the batting does look a bit thin. I mean, that's something that's obvious. But it's the makeup of the team. How do you put that together with the guys that you have here in Australia at the moment?
Temba, you've actually looked as good as anyone on this tour, along with Carl. We've got 2 or 3 starts. What's the key for you, in particular, to kick on and push on and make these scores based off playing quite well?
Yeah, I think the team, that's what it needs. That's what our batting group needs. The 60s or 70s are, I guess they're good for that moment, but in the bigger scheme of things, they don't change the outcome of the game. I've obviously been guilty of that in my test career, and I mean that's something that I'd really like to change, not just for myself but also for the team. But yeah, like I said, that's something that the team needs. 2 guys to go out there and score big hundreds, and really give something the bowlers to rally behind.
Is there anything you can identify in terms of improvement?
Something that I can identify, if I look at my dismissal today, probably a brain fart, if I could say. Then I think, if I was probably batting with a batter, I probably wouldn't have played that shot, to be honest with you, with all due respect to KG and the guys who came after them. And I guess it's that method, being able to carry on with it for periods and sessions of the game. I think that's probably my biggest challenge, is just to keep batting and see how long I can go out there. We need the partnerships. Today I think we had 1 partnership of significance, if I could say, and that will obviously help the cause with all the other batters in terms of putting up big scores for the team.
Well, Temba, you've obviously been around for a lot longer than a lot of the guys. I know conditions have been brought up a lot when talking about batting, even in the past year or 2. Especially looking at the conditions here, does this feel like a low point?
Does it feel like a low point? It's disappointing. I think the talk around the conditions, for me, it's more a matter of stating the obvious. But then the team that wins is the team that adapts the better in those conditions, and we simply haven't done that. So, I mean, it's not at least from my side, it's not a matter of throwing blame at the conditions and saying the reason why the batters or the bowlers are not doing this is because of conditions. It's a matter of us just not simply adapting. In terms of it being a low point, I mean, I wouldn't go to that extreme. But it is disappointing the way that we've played as a team. But I mean, there's still Sydney. There's still a lot for us to play for.